How's it going, everyone? Jimmy here, and today I finally want to talk about Season 2 of Street Fighter V and the potential future for the game. So let's start off with the balancing of Season 2, which in my opinion is pretty bad if you compare it to Season 1. Now, let's talk a little bit about Season 1 so you get a better understanding of why I think Season 2 is bad. So, Season 1 had the top tier characters. Like Chun-Li was considered top tier since day one, and that really didn't change at all. And like the way people talked, maybe it might seem like the game wasn't balanced enough. Like whenever you basically bring out like a tier list and you say, hey, these characters are strong, these characters are weak, one thing that doesn't that people don't mention is how close are like the characters apart from each other. And in Season 1, they really weren't that far apart. The reason why like you could see it in the tournaments. Tournaments had a lot of character diversity. Top 8s usually consistent of like 8 different characters in the game. And that's a really good thing. That's a really good sign for good balancing as well. And yeah, I think with Season 2, I really don't think it's gonna happen the same way again. I really think it's gonna be worse. Characters like Guile and Urien, especially those two, seem too strong. Maybe Boxer and Cammy as well, those are also considered quite strong at the moment. We have to keep in mind the game is really not that old. It's just from the time of the recording right now, it's just like 1 month old. So I really hope I'm wrong, but at the moment it seems like there are just super strong characters and pretty weak characters, and they're really far apart. And that's bad because competitive players are just basically going to be forced into a situation where they either pick a top tier character or they're just going to lose, and that's a problem. As I said, the game is young. Maybe things are gonna change. Maybe I'm just not seeing things correctly. Like this is actually the reason why I was holding off from making this video. I just wanted to get a better feeling for how the game is being played, what the strong characters are, and like before jumping into conclusions, right? So yeah, hopefully either the players are going to figure something out, or maybe Capcom really needs to consider a patch before the Capcom Pro Tour starts, because at the moment balancing seems pretty bad. Next up, I want to talk about the new player experience, which in my opinion is really bad. It's so bad that I really have to ask myself, is Capcom even trying? And the answer to that is they're kind of trying actually, because you can see it in the gameplay. They're changing the Street Fighter gameplay in a way that makes it a little easier for the new player to start and don't feel like at an immediate disadvantage to other players. A lot of like competitive players disagree with that approach. In my opinion, it's not a bad approach. I think it's actually good as long as you make the game complex enough basically for a competitive audience to still enjoy. If you make it too easy, obviously, then people are just not going to play it on a competitive level. That's something you have to keep in mind. But other than that, like making a game, like fighting games in general are really complicated, and making it accessible to the casual audience is a really good step in like growing your own community. And therefore, like if it's easy to get into the game, then there's a higher chance for like casual players to like turn into competitive players over time, right? So I think that's not a bad approach. But like, what's the main thing that is missing for new players in Street Fighter V? It has nothing to do with the gameplay, in my opinion. It's a core feature that is missing from Street Fighter V, and that's communication. There's no way to communicate with players, and that's really bad. That's so bad. Like, if you think about Street Fighter 4, in Street Fighter 4 there was like a basic messaging system. That's already okay. It's not perfect at all, but like it's like one step ahead of Street Fighter 5, which is really like how did that even happen? How does Street Fighter 4 have like one core feature that is really important for everybody basically? Why is it missing from Street Fighter 5? One explanation for that is basically maybe Capcom feels like the only way you're gonna communicate with someone is because you want to send him like a super salty message, right? I enjoy those actually. I think they're hilarious and they're a part of the game. It makes it so that you can see that people care about this. Like when somebody actually takes the time to write an essay about why the other player is so bad, he's clearly emotionally involved, and that's just part of the game, and I think that's fine. It's also hilarious to just share these messages. It's just fun, right? It makes, like, it's an aspect of the game that is basically outside of the game, which is a lot of fun. And I think it's truly missing. But it's not just that. Like, because of how restricted the messaging system used to be in Street Fighter 4, I feel like Street Fighter 5 needed to step it up. Like, why? Like, the way I picture it is it's basically you get into the game and like you get into this lobby basically where you can see all of the player names and you can click on the player names and then just immediately like there's like a chat box popping up where you can talk to players, where you can invite players to a game, something like that. I feel like it should be really easy to communicate with players because of how difficult it is to actually learn the game. So like if you're a new player and you play ranked mode, for example, right away, you're usually gonna have a bad time. What do? You just turn off the game because you're frustrated. But if there's like a messaging system, if you return to the lobby and you can just like easily talk to people and say, hey, what is going on? I'm playing ranked, but I'm having such a bad time. People, like, through communication, I think we can fix a lot of the new player, like the casual audience problems that we currently have. So I really wish Capcom, please step it up, please give us a way to communicate, and yeah, hopefully we'll see something like that in the future. So how's the experience for a veteran player at the moment? It's also pretty bad. I already kind of mentioned why it's bad. Because of like there's no character diversity in Season 2 at the moment, at least, so you're just queuing up against Urien and Guile all day and you feel like, okay, you either play those characters or you just lose, right? So that's no fun. That's really bad for players that want to push their own characters, that want to like have fun with their character. If you constantly just play the same players over and over again, then yeah, it's just gonna be, you're just gonna have a bad time. And yeah, that basically means like no matter what kind of group you're in, you're just gonna have a bad time at the moment with the game. Whether you're a new player or a veteran player or a competitive player, I think all of these groups are just gonna have a bad time and not a lot of fun in Street Fighter 5 at the moment. So Capcom really needs to do something about that. It's kind of problematic. As I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Season 2 is like not as bad when it comes to the character balancing. Maybe things are gonna change, but overall still there's so much work to do because people you don't feel rewarded playing the game, right? And that brings me to my next point actually. I want to briefly talk about the currency system in Street Fighter 5. Now, I originally planned to do like a whole video just talking about fight money because I think it's that messed up. So yeah, maybe I'm just gonna do that actually, and I'm just gonna briefly mention the currency system is bad. Why? It's bad because it doesn't reward you. The currency system should be there so you feel like playing the game. I think that's like the main point of having currency in your game. And like Street Fighter 5's currency system does a really poor job at that. I never ever feel like starting Street Fighter 5 to get fight money, to do the missions. I don't feel like doing that, right? And that's like the main point that the currency system should do. It should make you feel like starting your PlayStation and play a couple of games. But no, doesn't do that. So in my opinion, that's really bad. That's something like the whole currency system should work very differently. And as I said, I might do a whole video about it explaining. I did some math on it just so you know, like I did like quite a lot of research on this topic already, and I might release a separate video about it. The last thing I want to talk about today is the server situation and the netcode of Street Fighter V. So let's start with the server situation, which is, as everybody knows, pure shit. There's no other way to say this. They're really, really bad. And it's like, at this point, it's just embarrassing. We first started off with the first beta of Street Fighter V, and yeah, nobody could actually play the game because nobody could connect to the servers. That was our first impression of the Street Fighter V servers, right? And till this day, a lot of the issues have not been fixed. And like, for example, I don't get disconnected a lot from the servers. That's a good thing, right? Like, I mostly don't have to deal with that, but I know a lot of people are still complaining about these issues. So it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing at this point. But the main issue is that, like, the servers, like that I have with the servers at the moment is whenever you have to send or pull information from the servers for like rank points calculation, when I'm looking up replays and all that, it just doesn't seem stable. Like 60% of the time I just fail to send I just feel like retrieving data and like sending data is just not working the way it should. I don't really know what is going on with Capcom, but this is like one of the main issues that like where people can basically see, okay, this doesn't feel like a finished product. Like, you just start the game and you play your first few ranked matches and you see so many server errors. You have to feel like is this actually, like, is this a beta or is this like the full game, right? And yeah, I just feel like Capcom really needs to do something about this. And just yesterday, actually, there was a blog post regarding this, which really surprised me. I did not think Capcom is gonna do something about this for a very long time. So yeah, so basically, Capcom said there are gonna be improvements of the network, like the quality of the network for CFN. And it's like scheduled for like sometime in spring, like nothing too specific right now, but that's something, right? And yeah, it's something, as I said, I did not expect Capcom to actually like look into this. I thought they're just gonna give up on this problem, so it's good to at least hear, okay, they want to do something about this. It's a good sign, right? But in all honesty, like, we should not get our hopes like if you have like high hopes for this kind of update for the server situation, then you're most likely gonna be disappointed, because Capcom is really good at disappointing. So keep your expectations low, and like, in all honesty, like, I shouldn't even have to say that, right? It's so embarrassing, as I said. Like, the server situation should be so much better, but it's not. And I just can't see like any major improvements from Capcom. Capcom has not like shown the will to do something about this problem. It has existed ever since before the release of the game. This problem has existed, and yeah, I think if they really wanted to fix it, they would have done so by now. So yeah, but we'll just wait and see, and I'm definitely gonna keep you guys up to date regarding the server situation once this update actually goes live, right? So yeah, next up, the netcode. Netcode has a lot of issues. I think the main cool aspect about the netcode is the rollback netcode is superior, in my opinion, to the Street Fighter, like the way traditional netcodes work. Why is it superior? Because it makes you feel like you're playing offline when you're playing online. So if you go to a tournament, then you don't have to relearn all the timings. That was a huge issue in Street Fighter 4. Whenever I was playing online for a long time and then I wanted to go to a tournament, I needed to just drop online play for at least a couple of days in order to get used to the offline timing again. And yeah, that's something that Street Fighter 5, like, this problem does not really exist in Street Fighter 5. That's cool. But what does exist is one-sided lag. That's the most common problem that people have. Whenever you're laggy, it might be so that it's only laggy on your end. So whenever like you have incredible lag and your opponent doesn't seem to have any issues with his combos and timings and all that, and you're just getting destroyed, there is a good chance it's not lagging on the other side. Which makes it pretty bad, obviously, because of, well, yeah, because there's ranked mode and there are points on the line, and there are even a couple of exploits where you can force this kind of one-sided lag. And we've known about these problems for such a long time already, and Capcom doesn't even acknowledge the problem exists. Okay, so like that's how bad it is, and I really wish that's there's going to be some kind of update in the future regarding the netcode. So one other thing that I also have to mention here is over time the netcode seems to do a worse job at like handling connections. I don't know what it is, but whenever I'm playing a really long set, I feel like the connection quality gradually gets worse. And obviously connection quality is always dependent on my internet connection, like my opponent's internet connection. So if you start downloading stuff or something like that, obviously you're just like, it's like the quality of the connection is not going to stay the same depending on what you or your opponent does, right? But it's such a common problem that I have to think it's somehow related to the netcode, and I wish there's some kind of information from Capcom regarding this. Like it just feels like overall, just like the servers, basically, there's some kind of stability issues going on, and I would love to see an update, because like the core feature of Street Fighter V is the online play. And if the online play has, if there's a problem with the online play, then like that basically affects me like the most, because I'm mostly playing online, and I think like that's how the game was designed. You're supposed to play mostly online, right? And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Capcom could do a much better job. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the state of the game. Let me know what you think about Season 2 and the future of the game in the comment section below, or live on Twitch. So take care, and I'll see you soon.